Hello and welcome to the 𝗕𝗥 podcast. My name is 𝗕𝗓𝗪𝗡, Marketing Coordinator here at 𝗕𝗥, and I'm joined by Brenda Lee, as always, our Communications Specialist. Hi, Brenda.
Hi, Clarissa. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Busy summer.
Busy summer for sure. We're getting lots of bull photos and videos and progeny photos and videos done, so it's been a busy couple weeks.
Yeah, no, it has been, and only looking to get busier as we look towards World Dairy Expo and the Royal Winter Fair and all sorts of activities around that and promotions and a lot of exciting things happening.
Lots of busy times. You wouldn't really think that we're working on World Dairy Expo and the Royal already, but in our world,
Yeah, certainly not Royal Winter Fair. I mean, it's only, late summer, and you've
it
got a
is,
lot
but
of
we
tours
have,
coming, I hear.
yes, we have about 200 participants for our
Wow.
Royal Tours this year, so
Is that
lots
up?
to organize.
Is that up?
Up from last
Up
year,
from
yes.
last year. What do you think that's all about?
Oh, great question, Brenda. Um, I think a lot of people are interested in traveling, and Canada seems like a good place to go right now, so
Yeah, no, for sure. And we've got a lot of cool things to show people.
we do, yeah.
That kind of has been growing over the past couple of years. You know, after
It
COVID,
has.
there was a lull, and now people are back
hmm
into the swing of things. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
people are looking
that's,
to travel again, and we've got some really cool new large herds that we're going to be visiting this year. So I'm excited to add in some new stuff.
yeah. And what countries are coming? Just a short list.
Oh, a short list.
Yeah.
Well, we have it in front of me if you give me half a second.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
We've got Austria, Brazil, Germany, Holland, Italy, Japan, Spain, Mexico,
Wow.
Serbia, Slovakia. I could keep going.
It's really all points on the globe, huh?
It is. It is. That's
Yeah.
the fun part about our Royal Tours for sure.
Yeah, and it's fun for me personally to be involved and to go on some of those tours. And fingers crossed, I get my Italy Spain group back again, that I can be their tour
Yes.
guide because they're a lot of fun. So
They
shout
are a
out
lot of
to
fun.
Italy and Spain and the good time on the bus.
Yep.
So we had a pretty good conversation with our friends from Arizona Dairy late last week.
We did. It was cool for me to hear from them and just how things are going with their OPU site that they've got, the only one in Arizona, on farm. So yeah, I mean you know them quite well, and for me it was really cool to get to know them.
Yeah, no, you always learn something new talking to Justin. And so it was a lot of fun to hear about their new venture with Boviteq. They've been a Boviteq client for quite a few years, but now they are an official Boviteq lab, which is super exciting. I know Chantal and Melissa and the whole team at Boviteq have worked really hard to make that happen. And to hear it from kind of the horse's mouth in Arizona is really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a really great episode, honestly, that I think people are really going to enjoy listening to. So let's go. Well, first of all, I just want to thank you guys for joining us and taking time out of your day. I know that it can be tricky to find time sometimes, and we're really excited to have you with us, and as well as our newest Boviteq IVF lab. And we have a lot to talk about. I'm sure Brenda's thinking the same thing, but I think many listeners might know you or have heard of you both. But in case they haven't, if you could just give us a brief bio about yourselves, Justin, if you wanted to start.
Sure. Yeah, Justin Stewart, Arizona Dairy Company. I'm one of the owners with my family, my dear loved family. It takes a village, on any family operation, on any small or large family operation. So I'm blessed in the sense that I get to work with my family every day. And, so far everything is clicking right along. But we milk 3,250 cows 3 times a day in southwestern Arizona, where water is a challenge, and we do a good job of keeping our cows cool and drenched and cooled every single day. We do have, obviously, the topic of the conversation today is the IVF lab on site, which makes us unique in Arizona. We're the only one, whereas other states like California or maybe Wisconsin has several IVF labs. But yeah, we've been at our new facility for 3 years, just over 3.5 years. At our old facility, we were at 49 years. And so we've been in business since 1973. My father-in-law started the company I got in the dairy business the old-fashioned way. I married into it. Um, we, but I dove in, head first. And when I was asked to be a part of the company, I was blessed and took hold. And I've been here for working in the company day to day for 15 years now. But like I said, my family and my wife's side of the family, there's your sixth generation, Hadley sixth generation farmer and dairy farmer, and so we are now having the seventh generation born. So we feel pretty lucky that we've made it that many generations so far. What else? What else about me? I am ex-military. I was in the Navy for 10 years as an air traffic controller. I like to tell people where to go. Always fun. No, it was a great thing to be a part of, and I go back and be in the military again. But I decided to get out and come home, be on the farm, and work here. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Hadley?
My name is Hadley. And yeah, I'm born into the dairy business. I'm a sixth generation farmer. And I graduated with my associates in ag science at Central Arizona College about 2 years ago. So I've been working up full time at the dairy for about 2 years, but I've been working for the dairy since about 5 years ago. And basically, my role here is just to coordinate any and all OBUs that go on. And I also make proper matings for the herd as well.
Hadley Ross, her initials are HR, so we always call her the HR department.
Yes.
If you need something done, get into the HR department. Hadley, go.
She's the boss.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the boss.
She's the boss. So great. And, you're our newest Boviteq lab, but you're not new to IVF.
Yes.
Can you give us a little bit of history of your work with IVF over the years, where you started?
Yeah, I think you want to take this? You want me? I can take it personally. You can add in.
You can start the beginning.
Yeah, it started about 12 years, and maybe 15 years ago. About 12 years ago. I had a good conversation with our Holstein representative, 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗘, and she pointed us in a couple different areas as she walked our herd, and we were looking around, having great discussions. And one thing led to another, and eventually she introduced me to a wonderful man named Mike Santos, Terra Linda Dairy. And she's like, you should come over and take a look and meet Mike. And he's doing some IVF, started a couple years ago. And one thing led to another. And Denton and I, Hadley's father, drove over to California and took a look at his herd and met Mike. And he was so gracious to open his doors to us. And I just remember vividly walking into his milk parlor. It was a parallel barn. And I was in awe of his udders. And looking through the cows, and I just thought, those udders are perfect. They're amazing, and it really struck me. And I walked out and I said, Mike, at what age are those cows? Are those second lactation, third lactation? He said, no, those are all first lactation efforts. And I said, what? He said, yeah, we're averaging 100, 105 pounds or whatever his first lactation cows were, and that really hit home with me several years ago. And he said it takes a long time to get here, but this is what the results are. These are some of our best 2-year-olds, and they all came out of IVF. And so, of course, we've had lots of discussions since then, and we decided if you're going to change the herd, that's the fastest way to really modify our herd. And when I was initially starting to manage the herd and look at the herd and trying to evaluate different things on how we were doing, that was one area where we thought we could really modify is our genetics. So that's kind of how we got started with Mike. And then we didn't have enough donors. So Mike was once again gracious, said, let's work together. You can help me offset the expense, and I'll use some of my donors for your herd. And I thought, wow, that's perfect. Then we can start to create our own donor population, our own donor herd. And like I said, 10, 12 years ago. And Terra Linda speaks for itself. I mean, they've been a customer of Boviteq and several others. And just really, Mike is a savant when it comes to numbers and just a wealth of knowledge and a great friend of mine for a long time now.
And then a time came when you started to work with Boviteq directly.
Yes, yes, that's a good point because we started out with some other IVF labs, and it was, I like to use my fellow dairymen as the reasons behind or good, solid backing for a company, any vendor that we want to use. I use my fellow dairymen. We're the best salesmen in the world. So I went to Mike, and Mike was using another company, and one thing led to another. So we started with another company, and that went okay for a while. And we lacked information. I just remember that vividly. We lacked a lot of information, and so we went after that. We went out on our own and started doing all of our own. We built an on-site IVF lab at the old facility in Mesa, Arizona, and worked that for a few years, and we thought we were getting pretty good, right? We're making pregnancies, and we're making babies, and we're making embryos, and all of our TPI animals are being born, and we're just, pumping, getting pumped up about it, and selling one or two here and there for a lot of money, and you're like, wow, this is actually working. But then it came to a point of realization, you know what, it's time for us to step up and kind of take the next level. We weren't achieving some of our own goals with our own on-site IVF lab, making our own media, doing all those other things that is necessary to go into making an embryo. We were having some success, clearly, but not really where all of us wanted to be. And so that struck up several years of conversation with 𝗕𝗘𝗫 and Boviteq to say, what's next for us, and how do we get there, and what's it look like? And I remember inviting 𝗕𝗘𝗫 out to Arizona, I guess a couple of years ago now, saying, does this work? Can we do something here? And one thing led to another, and we eventually landed on Boviteq. We knew Boviteq was where we wanted to eventually end up, and because once again, I trusted my fellow peers out there that used Boviteq, and Mike Santos was one of them. Tanner Schmeling, what Maple Futures is another. And I just said, Boviteq's the way to go. Let's learn more about Boviteq. And of course, as you start to pull on that string a little bit by little bit, you start to learn more about the behind the scenes of really what Boviteq is about. And even 𝗕𝗘𝗫 said, what you're doing here works. We can use a lot of this stuff. It's going to be different, but we can use a lot of your existing equipment. And once I really dove into it, started using the Boviteq protocols and their equipment and their and everything about making an embryo through Boviteq way, you guys are light years ahead of where we were. That's for sure. And so it gave me a confidence and in our embryo abilities to be with Boviteq. There's just so much more behind the scenes that I don't think a lot of dairymen know about and see firsthand. Even at Boviteq Madison, the lab by itself, just a quick tour there will blow your mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Capabilities of Boviteq and the amount of effort and work that goes into the detail day to day. So, that's how we ended up. I trusted my peers, and we've had put in some Boviteq embryos in the past, and the conception rate was always high, and so that's what we needed. And I don't care how many embryos we make. I want high conception and calves on the ground. That's what it boils down for us.
Mm-hmm.
Right on.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So you mentioned a little bit about how you weren't kind of meeting your goals, and are those things you just mentioned with the fertility, those are kind of your lab goals, or is there anything a little bit more extensive that you're trying to meet with your lab?
Yeah, I would initially say Arizona's unique from the standpoint of the weather in the summertime, and we wanted to have consistent preg rates through the summer. And we just felt that it was the best way to prove out a fresh embryo is higher conception than breeding the cow through traditional methods. And we didn't want to go public or go out in the world until we proved it to ourselves. And, we started here a while ago with Boviteq, and it was extremely consistent. It was about 5 to a 10% gain on preg rates in the middle of the summer in the heat. And if you think about it, you're taking that fresh IVF embryo or frozen. At Boviteq, I don't think there's any difference. I know there's no difference in conception, maybe 1%, but take that through the summertime and increase your preg rate through the summer when all the cows are stressed, heat stressed. As good a job as we do with shading and cooling our cows, the preg rate still goes down in the summer. But if we could take an embryo and improve it, that's game changer for me. And we wanted to prove that to our fellow Arizona dairymen too. Right? Want anything to add to that, Hadley?
No, that's good stuff. Yeah, I mean, Boviteq just has a lot of research and has a lot of reasons behind why they do what they do. And it's really nice if I ever have questions or if anyone ever has questions, I can literally just send an email to anyone at Boviteq and they'll give me that information, which is really useful.
Yeah, that was. I mean, we feel like Boviteq is part of our team.
Yeah.
Not a company that we pay a vendor to help us, and that's it. It elevates what we want to do in our goals. Here is what I want to say is the fact that we want all of our replacement dairy cows to come from an embryo. 100%. How do we do? We've got good cows and we classify our cows and we want animals to come out of them too. But all of our replacement heifers can come from an embryo. We can always have a better embryo born than what we're breeding today.
And cheaper than what you can buy them today.
Clearly, that's the place. And no, that's very, very true. I always, I try to promote a little extra business for the lab lately, and I have conversations with my fellow dairymen, and I always tell them, and they know this too, but it's like it takes the same amount of time to make an inferior cow as it does an elite cow. It takes the same amount of time. So the decision that we make or Hadley makes on breeding or what bull to use on this heifer or this cow, we're 3 years away. And so I just don't want my fellow dairymen to waste that time. I want them to feed the absolute best cow they can feed and get the most bang for their buck back, either via longevity for the cows, better set of feet and legs, better udder, higher protein, more milk, just a longer lasting cow. And now, we could say slick gene, maybe for our hotter climate areas. There's a bull now that's kind of making waves a little bit, kind of wake us up and say, maybe that's something we could use and try and go down that slick gene route for a portion.
Do you guys think that's what producers are missing about IVF?
Yeah, well,
like there's not more guys doing it?
Yeah, I think initially that has a sticker of being expensive and maybe for the show cow guys. And yeah, we want show cows too, or at least a cow that we can be proud of and put her show clothes on and her World Dairy Expo clothes on and go out and be in the pageant and look perfect to say, don't you want more of that? Well, that's a rare case. All of our cows could eventually get cleaned up and look like that. But we want to do it on the production side, on a commercial side, at a commercial level, and have our 2-year-old pet. And Hadley and I were talking about this earlier. It's fun for us to walk outside and go to our 2-year-old pet. It reckons back to going to Mike Santos' 2-year-old pet. It's like, wow, this is
there.
Yeah, right here, like this. And don't you want more of those cows? And every time we score cows or classify cows, because we do it 3 times a year, we get to walk the herd and interrupt their normal day-to-day life and say, let us look at you girls. Well, so, and we're happy.
Yeah, good. So Hadley, you're running the lab. What are the lab goals and how does that fit with Arizona Dairy?
So our lab goals is to get as many embryos per donor as possible. And that fits the goals of the dairy in the sense that we're trying to make embryos for cheap. And with that embryo, we'll get a calf out of it that, will one day be an awesome 2-year-old, pretty much. So basically the goal of the lab and the dairy, they line up as, you know, we're both just trying to achieve making the best animal that we can.
Yeah. And
So
if we do talk to our neighbor, I'm not going to charge them $400 an embryo. I could, because the embryos are that high a quality and kind from really good stock, but I want them to at least breed 10% of their animals with an embryo and to start down that road. Or we've had some success on maybe converting Jersey herds to Holstein. And so implanting, right now, Hadley has a contract with another dairy outside the state, selling them embryos to convert their Jersey herd to Holstein and using the Jersey cow recipients. And that to me makes a big difference. I am stealing your thunder a little bit there, Hadley, sorry, but it makes me only think about our changing environment of protein. And Brenda, you're no stranger to protein and needing that massive protein every day. And so, but everybody is taking that on to effect. That protein is so huge right now. And where's the best place to get protein? From our cows, either through milk or beef. You know, that's the best place day in and day out, most consistent, most nutritious product in the world. So that's the IVF lab does for us. Every decision we make, we want it to be the best decision for our future herd. It's going to be a herd, Hadley's herd. You know, if you want to be a part of this, Hadley, then make your herd the way you want it. You know, high protein, longer lasting cows, high butter fat, good set of feet and legs.
So right now, how many of your replacements come through IVF? All of them? Are you to that stage yet?
I'd say we're about like currently, I think
about 3/4 of them, because our classified herd, you know, our scored herd, we get an excellent cow or the very good 2-year-olds. We want to breed that with regular sex semen, the same semen that we use in the lab. I want to breed to that heifer because I want her to really, what takes the cows to the next level to get another look is once we score the cows, they go into a different breeding protocol for Hadley. Hadley didn't really toot her own horn very much, but she does all of the mating on the dairy for every cow and every heifer, plus the lab. And so that's when you have a dairy of 10 cows or 1,000 cows, that's a big job to make that decision, to study those pedigrees. That's what she's.
And your breeding strategy, is it embryos or sex semen on your top end, or what is your breeding strategy, Hadley?
Strategy is all of our first lactation cows actually get 2 services of an embryo. And then everything else on the dairy just gets 1 service of an embryo. And then after that, if they are a good scoring cow, 85 points or above, they do get bred with sex. And then there's an occasional like heifer that, you know, is really high TBI and we already ran her through the lab. And if she didn't get pregnant with an embryo already, then I'll try to breed her with sex as well, just to get as many daughters as I possibly can from her.
And another, if a cow goes dry or if she has an accident or gets, you know, she's scored high, having an on-site IVF lab kind of gives another life to a really good, excellent cow. She gets to retire and go out to pasture. And every once in a while, you know, maybe once a month, we might OPU her and keep her at the lab. Just say, you know what? She's still a great cow. She's a proven great cow. We want to make more of her.
So when somebody's hesitant, what's your top 3 things that you tell them? They're thinking, nah, I don't know if I want to do it. It seems like hassle. It's kind of expensive. What's your elevator pitch?
There is a lot of detail. And if they don't like detail, there's a lot of detail that goes into it. So if they're, you know, queasy or don't want to dive into their breeding protocols head first and really sort things out, then I would say it's not for them. But as we all know, in the IVF world, every single step matters from the time we OPU to the time that calf is born, and every step in between. So if they are a little queasy there, I would say don't do it. But if they're interested in making better cows and taking that time, they're breeding anyway. It's attention to detail on every single step along the way. It goes back to, it takes the same amount of time to make a crappy cow as it does a really good one. So don't you want to make only really good cows and that matter, and cows you can keep, and cows you can be proud of, and go out and look at. Now, some of these dairies across the country are huge. They're 10, 12, 15, 35,000 cows. And that's a big job to do, but you got to start somewhere. And IVF is the fastest way to get to some of your goals. And that's what I tell them. Hey, don't you want to make more of your very best cow if you're genomically testing them? Make 10 more daughters of her instead of just one a year. That's what I tell them.
Yeah. And Hadley, how'd you switch a Jersey herd to Holsteins?
Got connected with somebody out in California, and they said, "Hey, I have a guy that wants to switch their Jersey herd to Holstein," and I was like, "All right, let's do this." So, with the help of Boviteq and with a contract, I provide them 140 Holstein embryos a month, and they put in their Jersey.
What's the other requirement?
The other requirement is no contract bulls. So that was a little. I mean, I like to use contract bulls personally, but no contract bulls is no big deal. And also the requirement is lower thyroid cavity. So they said nothing above 2.2 thyroid cavities is allowed. So I also look out for bulls that are high TPI, and then no contract, and also thyroid cavities is below 2.2. And 140 of those go out to him every month. And I think
We have calves on the ground now.
I think
He has calves on the ground now.
Nice.
yeah. So we've been doing this for about 9 months, pretty much. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good.
It's a good story to tell, and we have some few Jersey herds in Arizona that I would like to help them convert. And I don't want my fellow dairymen across the country to milk more cows. I just want them to milk better cows. That to me, that screams efficiency. And I would challenge every single dairyman, back to your last question. Look at your herd and look at the top 10%. Just take the top 10% of your herd producing cow milk today. Why are they the best in the top 10%? They have the same milkers, the same feed, the same quality of environment, the same equipment. Everything should be the same on these dairies. But why is that cow giving you more milk, more butterfat, more protein, lasting longer, getting pregnant every year, a higher TPI? Why? It all points back to genetics. So if you don't want more of that, don't do IVF. But
And really, what are you doing?
if you do want more of that, then start selecting the top 10% of your herd and start producing animals and calves that are more efficient feed-wise and produce more milk out of your best animals. That's what I tell them.
Do you think you can operate without IVF at this point and working with Boviteq?
I don't want to, no.
I don't want to.
I think, because it can always make,
You can always step up.
you can always step up, and you could always make a better cow through IVF. And technology and how the Holstein USA modifies the cow or adjusts the cow and evaluates the cow to change the breeding protocols. I mean, look at right now. They're trying to change milking speed. They're trying to change front foot placement for a better set of feet and legs, and only breed cows or reward those cows with straight feet. That's what we want. What's that going to do for us? That's going to give us longevity in the herd. That cow's going to produce more milk over her lifetime. And she's going to be more comfortable. There's with AI today, and we all say it, AI and cameras, the technology, I think, is going to change how we evaluate cows, and we only want to milk the best.
So Hadley, how close are you to the dream herd?
Definitely looking at our 2-year-old pen, it's just always fun to look at, especially during classification rounds. You just have lots of 2-year-olds that just do really good in the herd, especially in the summertime. And, there's just, and when we shrunk our herd in half as well on the move, that also got us a lot closer to the dream herd as well, just keeping our top cows. And I would say we're getting close for sure.
Awesome. Well, give us the plug. How do people work with you?
So you can either reach out to Justin on social media, or you can reach out to my email, hross@arizonadairyco.com.
Call the HR department at ArizonaDairy.com.
Yep.
Ask for HR at
So
Arizona
much.
Dairy.
Yep.
Hadley Ross, yeah. Your email is hross@azdairyco.com.
Yep.
Yeah, or it's on our social medias too, ArizonaDairyCompany.com.
You're on social media?
Or Instagram. Yeah, it's a small little thing that I want Hadley to take over, and she hasn't done it yet, but she will. And it'll be a lot more fun. Get the Gen Zs out there, throwing it a win for the group chat or whatever.
No, you guys do an excellent job on social media.
Well, we try to just tell our story from our perspective. So yeah, on our social medias, Justin at Arizona Dairy Company, my phone number's on there. Call or text us, and I'll make sure you get right to Hadley, and she'll get someone if they have a donor and they want to bring him to us, great. I would say we can get them set up and make sure they go through the health checks and make sure their animal is worthy and healthy to go through an IVF section. And if they're not near Arizona and they're near Wisconsin, I would give our dear friends at Maple Lane Futures a plug and say, you know what, that's one of the best collection facilities.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.